Delightful patch I had to open up, take the cover off and show. This is a volunteer farmscaping patch, right? We had, earlier in the season, we planted cilantro, bachelor button, calendula is all part of our farmscaping mix. Stations of nutrition and habitat for our beneficial insects. And lo and behold, all of the plants I just mentioned here are wonderful volunteers. That is, they make seed, it drops, and they regrow. And we have here, not having planted any of it for fall, bachelor button right here, cilantro, and the cilantro's going to seed. This time of year it's going to seed, which means we're going to have nectaries late in the season. And calendula is one of the very few flowers that flowers all winter. And some point we're going to get Lisa to get out from behind the camera and give us her enthusiastic, deep knowledge about the healthfulness of calendula and macular and its role in helping us not to get macular degeneration. But for the moment, we'll just say that this farmscaping is a total volunteer farmscaping patch. And it's just such a joy to have those flowers in bloom this time of year. To walk out into a winter-kissed garden, right? We've already had a touch of winter. We've been down in the cold weather and the cold winds, and yet these calendulas are blooming bright and cheery. And of course, they're edible. It's an edible flower. And it's about ready. Ooh, it's getting really close. That white center there, you talk about high cuisine, the best of Italian cooking. Somebody who knows how to make a great escarole soup or a pasta with escarole. It's one of those vegetables that Americans have to learn to love because it's bittersweet. There's bitterness, but there's also sweetness if it grows in the cool weather, and a richness of flavor. Of course, it's in the chicory family, so it sends a deep root down and pulls up loads of minerals. Jeremy just talked about tasting the minerals in the carrots, and we taste the minerals in the beets, right? This is another dish where as you eat it and pay attention, you actually taste those minerals. And probably what's so wonderful about that is because our bodies know we need those minerals, So we're getting a message from our taste buds to eat more of this food because of the minerals, And to me, it's about richness. When you taste foods that are really rich and deep in flavor, it's probably minerals, And of course, organic practices using things like azomite, A to Z minerals, that helps to ensure that you get those minerals. Using the life in the soil so that those minerals become mobilized and available to the plants. Those are the tactics that give us that deep nutrition and deep satisfaction. What's wonderful is if you love the taste of it and it's a real food, it's really good for you. If you love the taste of it and it's junk food, it's not really good for you. It's just giving you a surface kick. Okay, let's cover up and go take a look at the greenhouse. These are our Brussels sprouts. Sometimes you just don't get your timing right. We actually started Brussels sprouts to put out in late June, which is when they would have done very well. And we just didn't get them in the ground. We just had them in the greenhouse too long, and they got cabbage loopers on them, and we didn't have good control of the cabbage loopers, and they got eaten up, and we just didn't have the heart to plant them. But we bought some plants from Troy's greenhouse at the same time we bought the cabbage, put them in around the 1st of August, and we're going to have a nice little crop of Brussels sprouts. What we did to ensure that we had a good crop of Brussels sprouts was, if you come here and look into the vase here, we cut the top out. And that makes the plant stop trying to grow up and make more sprouts and put all of its energy into the sprouts that it has. The problem with letting them continue to produce this time of year is eventually it's going to get so cold that they'll freeze hard and then thaw, and they won't die, but they'll start to get rotten spots, and then they're just too much trouble to clean. If you've ever had Brussels sprouts that had lots of rotten spots, they'll drive you nuts. So we're trying to make them come in at a time when we can really enjoy them and not have to spend all our time cleaning them and wonder if it was worth the effort because there's hardly anything left because of all the little rotten spots. And as I always want to do, we did a test. We left 2 of them here with their tops still on. And you tell me, are these sprouts smaller than the ones with the tops cut off? Looks to me like they are. What do you think, Jeremy? Have you look at these here, and then look at these over here, and I think these are a lot bigger, aren't they? Yeah. So that's the trick, is to take that top out, and then the energy goes in and makes them bigger. By the way, the top is wonderful eating. It's all that Brussels sprout texture and flavor in a much bigger green. So when you take those tops out, don't think, oh, I'm having to waste some of my plant. Take it into the kitchen and cook it up. and you'll love them. Brussels sprouts are the one vegetable I think that if you're going to convert from a childhood dislike to a passion for them, you need to make sure you get them from a local grower and that he harvested or she harvested them after some nice, deep, cold weather.
So these are our radishes, and we have 3 or 4 different types. There's this one's called, I believe it's Shunkyo semi-long, and there we have, should we pull a daikon out?
Yeah, let's pull a daikon.
And these are some daikon radishes. And then we have watermelon radishes down here. And I guess these are both like Asian radishes, and you can eat the greens, correct?
Yep.
And the root.
Yep.
So there's 2 veggies in one there. You can eat the root and the greens. And again, lots of minerals. This is going really deep and pulling up lots of minerals. And yeah, they're great, spicy, fiery radishes.
And you've noticed that this here is a variety we've grown for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about what you like about it?
Yeah, we got it from Johnny's Seed. It's a daikon, it's called Alpine. And I think it's a 55-day radish, daikon radish, and a lot of them take like 30 days to mature, and this one's just really fast. And the long season variety has roots like that big around, and these are already done, so they're a real productive, fast type to grow.
So we might want to think if you're a little late getting your radishes in, you might want to go with Alpine.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And then do you want to show them a watermelon?
Sure.
Maybe we'll cut a watermelon open for
Okay.
the camera.
Should I get one of the bigger ones?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah. I've never grown this type before. Pat raves about it. Talks a lot about the watermelon radishes being
Now's
his.
the time for the
Yeah.
It's called watermelon because oftentimes they're green on the outside. And you can see a little bit of that green here, but of course this is not a highly developed vegetable. It hasn't been carefully hybridized. And so sometimes they're not green on the outside, they're both green and rose on the outside. This is usually green on the outside and then watermelon colored on the inside.
There's some green ones in here.
Yeah, we'll use the camera and get in closer to the green, but let's look on the inside here and take a taste. This is going to be fun, the first watermelon radish of the season. This is one of those vegetables I eagerly await every year. This one, lo and behold, the rose is all on the outside.
Interesting. Wow. It's not like any other radish I've ever had. There's a lot of sweetness in there.
A lot of sweetness, some good heat too.
The heat comes,
Yep.
yeah, after the sweet.
And juicy.
Mm-hmm.
That is a wonderful radish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really
And
good.
we could cut another one open and it could be either solid rose on the inside with the green on the outside, or it might have a pattern of rose. See, there's a teeny bit of a spot of rose there, but some of them might be all rose on the inside. And that's how they got named watermelon.
Cool.
Yeah. Do you want to show Lisa one of the green ones?
Yeah, there's a one that's green on the outside. Yeah. A lot of them aren't that big yet. They're still small. There's turnips in here also, more of those baby white salad turnips.
And Jeremy, let's talk about the yield we've had from this bed already.
Okay. I don't know as far as how many pounds, but a whole lot of radishes and turnips have come out of here already, and it's like we've just begun picking them. You can't even tell we've picked them hardly.
That's the amazing thing about radishes, is that they can grow them so close together, and as you thin them, the ones that were being impacted by the bigger ones just take the place.
Yeah.
So you get a very large amount of production in a small space. Excellent use for a winter greenhouse, I'd say, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
really productive. And they don't mind the cold. They just get better
They just
as
get
it
better
gets
and better.
colder in
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
You would not want to eat this watermelon radish if it was hot out.
No.
It would just set you on fire and you would have instant indigestion. But with the cold, it mellows it just enough to make it quite fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So lots of roots this time of year. All the radishes and beets and turnips, carrots.
Let's start with the Claytonia or miner's lettuce right here. This is Claytonia or miner's lettuce. It's called miner's lettuce because it's what the 49ers were able to harvest wild in California when they got there with their minds set on nothing but gold and not paying any attention to the fact that you cannot live on gold alone. So they had to quickly figure out that they could eat some weeds in order not to get scurvy and be able to keep their single-minded pursuit of the money. It's a wonderful green. It's in the same family as purslane. Jeremy, last year was your first year with it, right?
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
Thought it was great.
Yeah, it's a really nice, mild.
Thought it was really similar to purslane or chickweed.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's a total volunteer. If we let this go to seed, next year it'll come right back. You know, we'll be eating the same. It'll spread a little bit every year. Eventually you have to be careful because it'll become the dominant weed in your greenhouse. Solution to that is eat it. You know? Okay, we come down here, and this is the spinach. And I'd say this is probably one of our better crops of spinach, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I am really satisfied with this spinach. Have you been picking on it?
I have.
I have too.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it, does it?
No.
I mean, it's really fun. We've been eating this and eating it, and it's still here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I took the biggest leaves, but literally, some of the leaves I took yesterday, they were near the size of small chard leaves.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Big.
really doing quite wonderful. And is this, is this Tahi?
Tight. Yeah.
Yeah, Tahi. Tahi is a great spinach. It takes the cold really well, and as the season gets warm, it tends to be one of the last ones to bolt. It is a hybrid, but it's a really good hybrid. Okay. And then over here, we have a bunch of the more unusual salad greens, a little purposeful culinary patch of cilantro. I mean, we've put a lot of cilantro around as farmscaping, but here we're actually growing that to cut it, I'd say, for herbs. You know?
Mm-hmm.
But then here we have one of the more unusual salad greens. Have you tried this yet, Jeremy?
No, I haven't.
Time to check it out, man. This is our old friend plantain. Plantain is loved and revered for its ability to remove the toxins from bee stings. But here, it's being grown as a salad green. It's got the interesting name in the catalog of minutia.
Mm.
But what I love about it is its crispiness. You kind of get that crispiness for a green, Jeremy?
I do. Yeah.
That's pretty unusual, and it's got the flavor of plantain. Plantain can be eaten, but it's usually too tough. This has been bred not to be so fibrous.
Wow.
And
It's
a
really
flavor
good.
you just don't get because it's a different family. It's not a family that we normally, as humans, at this time in our development, probably way back when we were hunter-gatherers, we fed on plantain, but now it's too tough for us. So this has been bred to not be tough and to be quite succulent and delicious. And
Yeah.
then here, we have a mix of two different chicories.
Sorry. I'm gonna.
This is Lolo Biondo, I think is how you say it. It's Elliot Coleman's favorite. And what's nice about this is it's kind of been bred to be pre-blanched. You know, chicories tend to be bitter when they're dark green, and this has been bred to be lighter and not so bitter. Have you tried this one, Jeremy?
No, I haven't. Mm. Like just the right amount of bitter.
Just a little bit of bitter, a little bit of sweetness, and once again that richness. You know, the richness of a chicory, which is deep-rooted and pulls up those minerals. And then in the middle, in between the Lolo Biondo, is our Trefine. This is a chicory that's our frise, is another name for it. And this is a chicory that you grow jam close together so that it blanches the center. You can see here the center is just starting to develop, and it's paler. The more it's pressed in by other frises and by this Lolo Biondo, the more it blanches, and that center is what you want. That center is then blanched. It's not quite as dark green and not as bitter, and you get that wonderful bitter sweetness. And it's wonderful in salads. It's got this really frilly texture, which really gives loft to your salad and captures the salad dressing really well. And then just past that, we have one of my favorites. My first taste this year. I'll give you one, Jeremy. This is mosh. We have two different mosh in here. We have a smaller one, and then we have a larger one. I actually don't remember the names of either of them. We'll have to look them up. But mosh is another one of those greens that is not in our typical families. It's not in the lettuce or chicory family or the brassica family, which is our three main families for salad greens. I guess spinach would be the Chenopodium family. Those are the main salad greens. Spinach and beet greens are what we use in salads, and then the salad brassicas and the lettuces and the chicories are in the composite family. And this mosh, buttery texture and a floral finish. Pretty great combination. Catalogs say nutty. I don't know. Do you get nutty, Jeremy?
A little bit.
My palate misses the nutty, but I really get that floral finish and that buttery texture. This is probably the easiest green to grow for people that don't want to do season extension. If you got this established in early fall, it would be nice and big by now, and you don't have to give it any protection whatsoever. It'll take anything that winter can throw at it, and it will not be hurt. It'll just keep growing. And like the Claytonia, it's a total self-seeder. If you let it go to seed, guaranteed you'll see it there next year. A strategy that I've never followed because I'm not much of a flower bed person, but if you have flower beds and don't want them to go to waste in the wintertime, annual flower beds, sow mosh in there in the late summer and let it go to seed. And then just as your flowers are finishing, it'll be popping up and you'll get a volunteer crop of mosh for the whole winter. It's also known as corn salad because it was a common weed in the grain fields of Europe.